Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Bern here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY on the H4. So we got that WXY. I was looking for, last week I said we can get a couple of different scenarios. We can get one up in here and then another one down here. And then we go up for that wave Z. It's been quite choppy in here, and we did get another one up in here, but so we got sort of an A, B, C in here. The problem is now this is becoming a larger correction than this. So we have two scenarios. This either becomes a larger correction and we get another a higher high, or this is the top and we go down from here, have a larger correction. So we do have bearish divergence between these two here. If we go down on the H1, you can only sell this at this stage. We have a lower low here. So if you get any correction in here or flag, look for the sell. AU on the H4. So this is very similar to DXY. We're looking for this larger correction here, over here. At this stage, we've got an internal WXY, possibly an X2, a Z down to finish off this wave Y, and then we get the X2, this correction here. That's sort of what I'm looking at. So yeah, we can get that WXY, X2 and a Z down. But again, if we look on the H1, you can only buy this. You know, at this stage, we can only buy this. So if you get any correction in here, look for the buy. We have that higher high. So for the sell, you know, you need an impulse down and a sell set up to sell for this internal wave Z down. But I'm only really interested in the buys. When we're at these low levels, I'm only looking for the buys, you know. EU on the H4. So we got that WXY. We had that bear hidden here. It never went down and broke the low. We had a deep pullback. Like I said up here, we can either go and break that low, or we can either just get a deep pullback. We got a deep pullback down to the 78.6. So this is giving us an idea that we're only going to get a larger correction before we get more downside. What I'm looking at is like an A, a B, a C, and then we get that A, B, C. So again, on the H1, we've got that higher high. So you can only look for buys at this stage. We got that higher high here. So any correction or flag in here, you look for that buy. GU on the H4. Again, this is a structure that I'm pretty much looking at. Very similar. I think we're going to get similar structures, like EU is very similar to GU, the structure that I'm looking at. Looking at that A, we had that bear hidden here. This one wasn't as deep. We didn't get a very deep pullback. We got a back to the 50 pip. So I'm looking for an A, B, C in the B wave, and then we get the A, B, C, and then A, B, C. Now, this structure may not play out, but this is a structure, a possible structure that I'm looking at. Just looking at the price action, this is a possible structure that I'm looking at. So again, when we're on the H1, this one here is a little bit more difficult because we do have a possible bear hidden here. Ideally, it goes up, breaks this top, takes out the possibility of the bear hidden, and we get a correction in here or a flag, and then you can look for that buy. You know, your first target will be that 100 fib and the 161.8. And you on the H4. So I'll put this trading view idea out. We got a W, X, Y, X2. We got the Z down. It's becoming quite complex in here, but I'm looking for these here targets here, the 38.2 and the 50 fib on the weekly. We're looking for a weekly X2. So these are your targets here for the buy. On the H1, I'm looking at this as a possible, we get a not an impulse, but a motive structure here. We get a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up. We're at that 100 fib. We don't have any bearish divergence. So if you get any correction in here, not so much a correction, but a flag, you can look for that buy up to the 161.8. Then you'll have to be careful. You may get that retracement back to the 38.2 of this move here, and then we'll be looking for that Z up. But at this stage, any buy setup you get, look for the buy. UY on the H4. So this one's going, like I said last week, this can go up to that 161.8. It actually went up there and breached it. So we got looking at that WXY, possible X2, and then we get a Z up. On the H1, we can only look for sells at this stage. So any sort of correction you get, whatever happens in here, we don't know what sort of correction we're going to get, but whatever correction we get in here, when it's finished, look for your sell setup and look for that at least an A, B, C to finish off this X2, and then we'll be looking for more upside. Excuse me. The Swissy on the H4. So we got this like A, B, C. We got all this bearish divergence. So only really looking for sells. On the H1, you can only look for sells as well. We got this lower low here. So, you know, any correction you get, look for at least an A, B, C. USD CAD on the H4. So we got that WXY, X2, and we got that Z up, got up to the first target, didn't quite get to the second target, and now we're getting this like, it's looking very bullish as a correction. So we can't rule out that, you know, wave Z didn't finish and we just get a correction in here and then a more upside. You definitely can't rule that out, but on the H1, as you can see, we're looking for that C down now. We're looking at this A, B, C, A, B, C, then you get that A, B, C. So any sell setup you get in here, look for the sell. We have a lower low here again, so the only way you can buy is a break above there, nice impulse above there, correction or flag, and then you could look for the buy. You definitely need a break above that top before you even attempt to look for a buy, in my opinion. But UY on the H4. So we're looking for that ABC. We got that A, B. We're getting that C up. This is still looking rather bullish in here. It's not. We're getting a trend line break here, but you know, if you get a sell on it, you can look for that sell. It's very similar to USD Japan. You know, we can still get that high. But at this stage, you know, we don't have any bullish divergence. So, you know, you can really only sell this at this stage. For the buy, you need a break, nice impulse up, breaking this top, and then a flag up here, and then you could look for the buy. But other than that, I'm really only looking for the sell. You know, whatever happens in here, like I said, we don't know what sort of correction we're going to get. But if it looks corrective in here and you get a sell set up, I'd be looking for that sell. EG on the H4. So this is becoming quite complex. We've got a bullish divergence here. This is looking very corrective, very similar to this here. So I can't rule out another one down. You know, this is looking extremely corrective. H1, there really isn't anything. We've just got one move. So I'd really like to see it cross down in here. Give us like an A, B, C in here. Give us a cross down on the MACD and then give us another one up, like for an A, B, C. And then we can look for the sell. If we get any sell, then we can look for the sell. At this stage, I wouldn't be very difficult to sell at this stage, because I don't think this wave X2 is complete. If we get a lower low here, well, then it can still become an expanding flat for another one up. You really want a nice sell setup to sell it from here. Ideally, like I said, we get another one up here, and then you look for your sell setup. Once we get that bearish divergence in here on the MACD, you know. Looking at gold on the H4, this is, if I zoom out here for a tick. So we got that WXY, X2, the Z down. We lost all that bullish divergence like I've been mentioning. I was just looking for a correction in here. We had that bear hidden. It did come down, break the low, but it broke it in. I'm looking at it as a B wave. So we got an A, B, C. We got another one down in here. The problem is this one down in here never went and broke that low. It can be technically complete because we did go up and break above this ending point of wave Z, and then we went and broke below it again. So technically it may be complete. On the H1, we got a very deep pullback here. We got a very deep pullback. It went down to the 95th, didn't quite break the low. So we're just looking for a C up at this stage. We're looking for an A, B, and a C. Any bullish setup you get in here, don't miss it. You know, we got that high. If I just zoom in, so we got that bullish divergence, and then we got a high. So any correction you get in here, any flag, look for that buy. This will be your first target, that 100 pip. Looking at silver on the H4. So this one is still, we still have that bull hidden. So I said you can only sell under this low when this low is broken. So we're getting that wave Z up. So I'm looking at WXY, X2, we got the bull hidden here. I'm looking for this to go up and break that top. On the H1, any bullish setup you get, look for the buy. So you get a little correction in here or a flag, definitely look for the buy. WTI on the H4. So this one's becoming quite complex as well. We've got that A, B, C. This one never went and broke the low. Instead, it's giving another correction in here. So this is becoming quite complex because all this can become some other larger structure. On the H1, it's quite tricky as well. We've got this like A, B. We can look at this as the complete of wave C down. Price come up above that ending point of wave A and then went back below that ending point of wave A. So technically this C wave may be over. I don't like it when this happens, but you have to be very careful with the sell because it may be over. We don't know if it's over. You'd really need to go down onto the lower time frames and figure out what's going on in here. If it's looking bearish, you could look for that sell just as a scalp, just for an A, B, C, and then you'd be looking for the buy. Really for the buy, if you get a break above there, you could look for the a buy, then. So now onto Bitcoin on the H4. So nothing's changed since last week. We're looking for that A, B, and a C up. We're getting a nice correction in here. If I go down to the H1, we're looking at this, like I said, we only can look for buys. We got that higher high in here, so we're just looking for buys. We got an A, B, C down in here. We got a trend line break in here, and we're getting a little flag. Definitely look for this A, B, C. I'll probably put the targets on this one. So you first be targeting this 100 fib here, and then your second target will be that 161.8. SPX on the H4. So again, this one can become more complex because of the price action we're getting. We have this wave up in here and then another wave down, giving us that bullish divergence. We got a correction in here. So if we go down to the H1, any bullish setup that you get, look for this buy. Whatever, if you get a correction in here or a flag, definitely look for the buy. First target that first targeting that 100 fib, and then the second target that 161.8. Yeah, you can only look for the buy on this at this stage. We have that higher high. AU 200. So we have that WXY. We had a bear hidden in here. It hasn't gone down and broken the low. Instead, we're getting a larger correction. So this may turn into like an A, B, C, then you get an A, B, C, then you get an A, B, C for a larger correction, and then we get more downside breaking the low, not as a wave Z, but just as a larger correction, as some sort of an A, B, C. So it looks like this is becoming more complex, like a lot of the pairs. But again, on the H1, again, we can only look for buys at this stage. You know, so if you get any bullish setup in here, look for that buy. First targeting 100 pip and then the 161.8. Looking at the DAX on the H4. So we got that like WXY. This can be an A, B. We get a C in here, some sort of a flat, and then more upside for a WXY, X to a Z down. At this stage, we've got a deep pullback in here. Actually, if I go to the H1, because this is what we were looking for last week. We were looking for that buy. We're looking at an A, B. We had that higher high here, so we're only looking for buys. So wherever you got in, it's looking more bullish again. So we're getting a higher high here. So you can look for another flag in here and look to buy again. On the H4, we don't have that bearish divergence. So you can look for this buy in here on the H1. Yeah, just be a little bit careful, because on the H1, we are starting to get that bearish divergence. We're getting that bearish divergence between the two tops. So, you know, it becomes risky, but on the H4, we still don't have that divergence. So you can look for this, any bullish setup, you can look for that buy. Just as a scalp, mainly. And the FTSE, so this is giving a larger correction as well. We sort of got that WXY, X to a Z down. We got that bullish divergence. So we're really only looking for buys. In here on the H1, you can see we've got an A, B, C down as a flat in here. So this can become more complex. But if we get any bullish setup in here, definitely look for that buy. It may become more complex, just like an A, B, C. Then you get an A, B, C, A, B, C before we go down for the larger A, B, and C. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.